Dom recognizes his daughter's stuffed rabbit instantly, but it's supposed to be 6 feet underground in a sealed casket. The teenage girl holding it says she's been stealing food to keep Ellie alive in an abandoned building. Then she drops the detail that stops Dom's heart. She said the man who took her smelled like cigarettes, wore a uniform, and told her you were dead. What kind of people fake a child's death and make a father bury an empty box? Dom rises slowly, water streaming off him. He's 6'4", 260 pounds of muscle and ink and barely contained violence. The girl doesn't run. That impresses him almost as much as her words terrify him with hope. "You're lying," he says, but there's a question in it, a desperate plea for her to prove him wrong. "She has a birthmark," the girl says quickly, "behind her left ear, shaped like a crescent moon. She hums, 'You are my sunshine' when she's scared. She calls your motorcycle a thunderbike because of the sound it makes." Dom's knees nearly give out. Those details aren't public knowledge, aren't in any obituary or news report. His hand goes to his phone, then stops. "Why didn't you call the police?" The girl's face hardens. "Because I've been in the system. I know what happens to kids who trust uniforms. And Ellie said the man who took her wore one. She said they told her you were dead, that if she talked to anyone, they'd kill you for real this time. What's your name?" "Sadie. Sadie Vance." "Sadie, if you're messing with me, if this is some kind of sick joke, it's not." She holds out the rabbit. "She gave me this to prove it to you. Said you won it for her at the state fair 2 years ago. Said you spent $47 on the ring toss because you promised her you'd win it." Dom takes the rabbit with shaking hands. It smells like mildew and fear and something else, something that might be his daughter. He brings it to his face and something inside him breaks open. "Take me to her, right now." Sadie shakes her head. "Not just you. If what she told me is true, whoever took her has connections. We need help, real help." Dom pulls out his phone and makes a single call. "Ghost, I need everyone, right now. And I mean everyone." 43 minutes later, the parking lot of an abandoned warehouse 6 blocks from the cemetery fills with the thunder of motorcycles. 37 riders, the Iron Covenant Motorcycle Club in full force. They arrive in groups of 3 and 4, engines rumbling, leather and denim and steel. These are men and women who've served time, lost people, survived things that would break most, their family in the way that matters most, bonded by choice rather than blood. Marcus Ghost Teller dismounts first. He's 58, grey beard braided, eyes that have seen combat in Fallujah and gang wars in East Baltimore. He lost his own son to violence 15 years ago. Since then, the club's unofficial mission has been protecting kids in their territory. He walks straight to Dom. "Talk to me." Dom does. He tells them about Sadie, about the rabbit, about the impossible claim that Ellie is alive. The group listens in silence, broken only by the rain on metal roofs and the occasional crack of thunder. Drea Salinas steps forward. She's the road captain, former trauma nurse, now runs a free clinic for people who can't afford hospitals. She's pulled bullets out of members, delivered babies, and knows what trauma looks like. She crouches to Sadie's level. "Honey, I need you to be completely honest. Have you actually seen this little girl, or did someone give you that rabbit and a story?" Sadie meets her eyes. "I've seen her. I've been living in the drainage tunnels under the terminal for 7 weeks. I heard her crying 3 weeks ago and found her in a mechanical room. She's got marks on her ankles from being tied up, burns on her forearms. She's so skinny I can count her ribs. She's been eating saltines and fruit cups I steal from the corner store, and she's terrified. Won't let me call anyone because she thinks they're all in on it." Solomon Kane pulls out a tablet. He's called the librarian, handles all the club's legal issues and investigative work. Former public defender who quit after watching the system fail too many kids. "Tell me exactly what she said about who took her." Sadie closes her eyes, remembering. "She said after the car accident she woke up in an ambulance, but it wasn't normal. The man driving smelled like cigarettes and kept calling her by a different name, Emma or Emily or something. He took her to a basement. She was there for a long time. Different people came sometimes. They took pictures, moved her at night. She escaped when they were moving her again. The man stopped for gas, and she ran." Dom's fists clench so hard his knuckles crack. "The accident, they told me both bodies were too damaged for open casket. I never even saw her. I buried closed caskets based on what the coroner said." Tanya Wren Morris, the club's youngest patched member at 26, starts typing on her phone. She grew up in foster care, bounced through 14 homes before aging out. She learned computers as a survival skill, hacking into case files to find out where her siblings were being sent. "Give me the coroner's name." "Dr. Nathaniel Cross. He's been the medical examiner for 22 years. Wren's fingers fly. 60 seconds later, she looks up. His closed casket recommendation rate for pediatric cases is 67%. National average is 18%. That's not statistical variance. That's a pattern. Ghost makes a decision. "We get the girl first. Evidence second. Wren, you're documenting everything. Solomon, you're our witness that we do this clean. Drea, Medical assessment the second we have her. Dom, you stay calm. That's your daughter we're recovering, which means you follow my orders. Clear? Clear. Then let's ride. Sadie has never been on a motorcycle before. She climbs behind Drea, who hands her a helmet and tells her to hold on tight. The convoy moves through Baltimore's industrial wasteland, 37 bikes in formation, drawing stares from the few people on the street. They're not trying to be subtle, they're making a statement. The grain terminal looms ahead, a cathedral of rust and broken dreams. It was built in 1962, abandoned in 1998, and has been rotting ever since. 12 stories of concrete and shattered windows. Sadie directs them to a service entrance hidden behind a collapsed loading dock. They leave the bikes and move in on foot. Ghost assigns perimeter security. 6 members fan out to watch approaches. The rest follow Sadie into the darkness. Inside, the building is a maze. Graffiti covers every surface. The floor is treacherous with debris and holes that drop into flooded basements. Sadie leads them confidently, a girl who's learned every inch of her territory. They descend 3 levels, the air growing colder and damper. The smell of mold is overwhelming. "Through here," Sadie whispers, indicating a maintenance corridor barely wide enough for Dom's shoulders. They emerge into a mechanical room dominated by dead boilers and rusted pipes. Sadie goes to what looks like a solid wall and pushes. A panel swings inward, revealing a space maybe 6 feet by 8 feet. Inside, barely visible in the flashlight beams, is a pile of cardboard and plastic sheeting. The pile moves. A scream tears through the space. High, terrified, the sound of a child who has learned that discovery means pain. "Ellie, it's me. It's Sadie." The girl rushes forward, but Drea catches her arm. "Let him," she says quietly, nodding at Dom. Dom moves like he's approaching a wild animal, slow, unthreatening. He kneels 15 feet from the pile and starts humming, soft and off-key. "You are my sunshine." The screaming stops. The pile shifts. A small face emerges, so thin it barely looks human. Huge eyes in hollow sockets, lips cracked and bleeding, hair that might once have been blonde but is now matted with dirt. "Daddy!" The word is barely a whisper. Dom makes a sound that isn't quite human and holds out his arms. For a long moment, nothing happens. Then the child moves. She crawls, not walks, across the filthy floor and collapses against his chest. Dom wraps around her like a shield and sobs, great heaving sounds that shake his entire frame. The bikers stand frozen, many crying themselves. Drea wipes her eyes and moves forward slowly. "Sweetheart, my name is Drea. I'm a nurse. I need to check if you're hurt. Is that okay?" Ellie doesn't respond, just burrows deeper into her father's jacket. "It's okay, baby girl," Dom manages. "These are Daddy's friends. They're good people. They're going to help us." Drea conducts her examination as gently as possible, documenting everything with her phone camera. Ligature marks on both ankles, consistent with prolonged binding. Multiple burns on forearms. Circular patterns suggesting cigarettes, extensive bruising in various stages of healing, severe malnutrition, possible frostbite on 3 toes. When Drea checks her core temperature, it's 94 degrees, hypothermia. "We need to get her to a hospital," Drea says. Ellie's eyes go wide with terror. "No, no hospitals. They'll take me back." "Baby, nobody's taking you anywhere without me," Dom promises. "I swear to God." Ghost steps forward. "Ellie, do you remember what the man who took you looked like?" She nods against her father's chest. "He had a doctor coat, but he wasn't nice like doctors. He smelled like cigarettes. He had a big nose and his hair was brown and grey mixed. He had a name tag, but I couldn't read it good. It started with F. Solomon is recording everything. "What about the ambulance? Do you remember anything about it?" "It said County EMS on the side, and there was a number, 41 something. Ren is already searching. "County EMS Unit 41 is assigned to paramedic supervisor Franklin Marsh. He's been with the department for 23 years. Looking at his photo now." She holds up her phone. Ellie makes a small, terrified sound. "That's him. That's the bad man." Now, if you're as invested in finding justice for Ellie as these bikers are, show your support by hitting that like button and drop a comment telling us what you think should happen to the people who did this. Your engagement helps stories like this reach more people. Now let's see what the Iron Covenant does with this information. Over the next 4 hours, the club transforms into an investigative machine. They move Ellie to a secure location, a member's house fortified with security cameras and guarded by rotating shifts. Dr. Arthur Webb, a pediatrician who's quietly served their community for decades, comes to examine her properly. His face grows darker with each finding he documents. Meanwhile, Ren digs into Franklin Marsh's life. His salary is $54,000 a year, but he owns a house worth $400,000 and drives a truck that costs $60,000 new. She traces his bank records, finding deposits that don't match any legitimate source. They're disguised as insurance settlements and inheritance payments, but the timing is suspicious. Solomon reaches out to contacts, people he trusts from his public defender days. A courthouse clerk, a retired detective, a medical records administrator. He asks careful questions, never revealing why he's asking. The picture that emerges is horrifying. Franklin Marsh has been flagged internally 3 times for protocol violations involving child patients. Each time, the investigations went nowhere. Dr. Nathaniel Cross, the medical examiner, has personally signed off on 43 pediatric death certificates in the past 10 years, with closed casket recommendations. The state average for a jurisdiction their size is 11. Then Wren finds something that makes her hands shake. I've got a connection to CPS. Margot Delane, a supervisor there. She lives in a house worth $580,000 on a salary of $52,000. Her ex-husband is a contractor who's done major renovations on properties owned by shell companies. I'm tracing those companies now. Ghost listens to all of this while sitting with Sadie, who hasn't left Ellie's side. Kid, you did something incredible today. You saved a life. Sadie shrugs, uncomfortable with praise. I just did what anyone would do. No. Most people would have walked past. Most people would have convinced themselves it wasn't their problem. You saw a child suffering, and you helped. That takes courage. I've been where she is. Maybe not exactly, but close enough. The system failed me too. Nobody came when I needed them. Ghost makes a decision. After this is over, we're going to talk about that. You're what, 14? 15? 14. Where are your parents? Sadie looks away. My mom's alive somewhere, homeless. Drugs. My dad I never knew. I've been on my own for a while. Not anymore, you're not. But first, we finish this. Solomon gets a call from one of his contacts, a courthouse clerk named Jennifer, who owes him favors. There's something you should know. That medical examiner, Dr. Cross, 3 different families have tried to file complaints about his handling of their children's cases. All 3 complaints disappeared from the system. No record they were ever filed. Who would have access to delete those? Someone in the county administrator's office, or someone with friends there. Wren looks up from her laptop. I found another connection. Officer Dale Kemper, Baltimore PD Missing Persons Unit. He's closed 17 child cases in the past 5 years, marking them as runaways when families were still actively searching. And guess whose name appears as a witness on 6 of Nathaniel Cross's death certificates? Franklin Marsh. They've been working together for over a decade. The network is bigger than they thought. Paramedics to coroners to cops to social workers. A pipeline that takes vulnerable children and erases them from existence. Dom sits with Ellie, who's finally fallen asleep after Dr. Webb gave her a mild sedative. He's holding her like he's afraid she'll vanish if he loosens his grip. Drea brings him coffee he doesn't drink. We're going to need the FBI, she says quietly. This is too big for us to handle alone. I don't trust feds. Neither do I. But Ghost knows someone. Diana Reyes. She's with the Crimes Against Children unit. She's clean. Ghost makes the call. Special Agent Diana Reyes is skeptical when she answers at 11 p.m. A biker gang claiming they've uncovered a trafficking ring operating inside official emergency services. It sounds like paranoid conspiracy theory. Then Wren sends her the preliminary evidence package. Spreadsheets showing financial irregularities, documented patterns in death, certificates, testimony from Ellie and Sadie, recorded with proper consent and witness signatures, photos of Ellie's injuries with timestamps and medical documentation. Reyes calls back 20 minutes later. Her voice has changed. I'm sending a team. Don't move, don't contact anyone else, and don't do anything that could compromise this case. If what you're telling me is true, this is one of the most sophisticated trafficking operations I've seen. Will you move fast? Ghost asks. Because these people know the girl escaped. They're looking for her. How do you know? Because Wren intercepted a phone call between Marsh and Kemper 40 minutes ago. They're activating their network. They're hunting, Reyes swears. Give me an address. We're coming now. The FBI arrives in force. 8 agents in 4 vehicles. They secure the location and begin processing evidence. Agent Reyes sits with Ellie, who's awake now and terrified by the new strangers. Dom refuses to leave the room. Ellie, I know you're scared, Reyes says gently, but I need you to tell me everything you remember. Can you do that? Ellie looks at her father. He nods. It's okay, baby. Tell her. The story comes out in fragments. After the ambulance, she remembers being in a basement, cold, dark. Other children were there sometimes, but they'd disappear. Men would come and take pictures. She was moved frequently, never staying in one place more than a few days. She was told her father was dead, that her mother was dead, that nobody cared about her, that if she tried to escape, they'd hurt her. She escaped during a transfer. Marsh had stopped at a gas station. She was in the back of an unmarked van. When he went inside to pay, she managed to open the door and run. She hid in dumpsters and abandoned buildings, eventually found the grain terminal. That's where Sadie found her. Do you remember any other names? Any other faces? Ellie thinks hard. There was a woman. She came twice. She had red hair, and she wore a badge. She asked me questions about my family. I told her I wanted to go home, and she said I couldn't, that this was home now. Ren pulls up photos of Margot Delane. Red hair, CPS supervisor. Ellie points. That's her. Reyes makes a call. Within 90 minutes, federal agents move simultaneously on 4 locations. Franklin Marsh is arrested at his home at 2:47 a.m. They find him in his home office, feeding documents into a paper shredder. The documents they recover include names, dates, and locations, a ledger of transactions, photographs of children, evidence of a network that's been operating for at least 12 years. Dr. Nathaniel Cross is taken into custody at 3:15 a.m. He's at his office, attempting to access the medical examiner's computer system. Forensic IT specialists lock him out and begin recovering deleted files. They find discrepancies in autopsy reports going back 15 years, death certificates that don't match the forensic evidence, children who were supposedly cremated but whose cremation records don't exist. Margot Delane is apprehended at 4:30 a.m. at BWI Airport. She's carrying a laptop, $40,000 in cash, and a one-way ticket to Costa Rica. When they search her home, they find files on 63 children, all marked as closed cases. Many of those children are listed as dead or permanent runaways in official records. Officer Dale Kemper is not at his apartment. His phone is off. His patrol car is found abandoned in a Walmart parking lot. He's running. The Iron Covenant puts the word out through every street contact they have. Kemper is wanted, alive. They need him talking. 3 days later, a call comes in. Kemper has been spotted at a motel in Cumberland, Maryland, 2 hours west. Ghost, Solomon, and 4 other members make the ride. They don't go in. They call the FBI. They watch from across the street as agents move in. Kemper sees them coming and tries to run out the back. He's tackled in the parking lot and arrested without shots fired. In his motel room, they find a burner phone with contacts that lead to 6 more individuals in 3 different states. The network is larger than anyone imagined. Back in Baltimore, Ellie is in Maryland Children's Hospital. Her condition is stabilizing. The pneumonia is responding to antibiotics. The frostbite required minor surgery on 2 toes. The psychological trauma will take years to address. But she's alive, she's safe, and her father hasn't left her side. Sadie visits every day. She and Ellie have bonded in the way survivors do, understanding things in each other that others can't see. One afternoon, Ghost pulls Sadie aside in the hospital cafeteria. We found your mom, he says. Sadie's face goes carefully blank. Where? She's in a tent city under the I-95 overpass. She's using, but she's alive. He slides a folder across the table. We can get her into treatment. Real treatment, not the county program that's just a revolving door. We have contacts at a facility in Pennsylvania. 6-month residential program. If she agrees to go, we'll pay for it. Why would you do that? Because you're part of this family now, and we take care of our own. He slides another folder across. And this is a lease for a 2-bedroom apartment in Hampton. First year paid, utilities included. It's yours and your mum's when she gets out of treatment. If she doesn't make it through treatment, it's still yours. Sadie stares at the papers like they're written in a foreign language. I don't understand. You saved Ellie's life. You trusted us when you had every reason not to trust anyone. You're a good kid who got dealt a bad hand. We're evening the odds. Sadie starts crying. Not delicate tears, but big ugly sobs that shake her whole body. Ghost pulls her into a hug and lets her cry it out. When she finally stops, he hands her a napkin. There's one condition, he says. You go back to school, you stay clean, you let us help when you need it, and you work part-time at the garage. Drea says you're good with your hands. We can always use another mechanic. Okay, Sadie whispers. Okay. The federal case builds quickly. Franklin Marsh, facing multiple life sentences, starts talking. He names names, describes operations, admits to trafficking 27 children over 14 years. Some were sold, some were used in exploitation material, some just disappeared into a network he wasn't fully part of but served as a pipeline for. Dr. Cross fights the charges until his lawyer shows him the forensic evidence. Then he too cooperates. He admits to falsifying death certificates for 16 children, creating fake autopsy reports, facilitating the erasure of children from official existence. Margot Delane maintains her innocence until presented with the files from her home. Then she breaks. She names 3 other CPS workers involved, 2 county administrators, a judge who sealed records and expedited certain cases. Officer Kemper provides the most damaging testimony. He describes a network stretching across 5 states, safe houses and transfer points, buyers and handlers. He names everyone he knows, desperate to reduce his sentence. The trials take 18 months. All 4 main defendants are convicted. Marsh gets 5 consecutive life sentences, Cross gets 3, Delane gets 2, Kemper gets 60 years. Others Others in the network receive sentences ranging from 15 to 40 years. 6 months after that first rain-soaked morning in the cemetery, the Iron Covenant holds their annual summer cookout. It's held at a members' farm outside the city. Acres of grass and trees and open sky. Over 300 people attend, members and their families, community members the club has helped, kids from the free clinic, people who've been touched by the family the club creates. Ellie is there. She's gained 15 pounds. Her hair is growing back healthy. She still has nightmares. Still sees a therapist 3 times a week, but she laughs now, really laughs. She's joined a soccer team. Dom coaches it badly, but with more enthusiasm than skill. Sadie is there too. She's living in the apartment with her mother, who's been sober for 7 months and working as a receptionist at Drea's clinic. Sadie is in 10th grade, struggling with algebra but excelling in English. She works weekends at the garage, learning to rebuild engines and getting grease under her fingernails. As the sun starts to set, Ghost calls for everyone's attention. The crowd quiets. He calls Ellie forward. She climbs onto a picnic table, shy but brave. "I want to thank everyone," she says in a small, clear voice. "You saved me, all of you. Sadie found me, and these people believed her, and they came and got me. And now I have my daddy back. Thank you." The crowd is silent. Hardened bikers are wiping their eyes. Parents are holding their children tighter. Then Ghost calls Sadie forward. She's reluctant, but Drea gives her a gentle push. Ghost is holding something, a leather jacket. "This isn't a full patch," he explains to the crowd. "Sadie's got a lot of growing up to do before we have that conversation. But this is honorary membership, recognition that she's part of this family." He holds up the jacket. On the back, above the Iron Covenant logo, is a patch showing a grey rabbit with one eye. Below it, her road name, Rabbit. "For the bunny that started everything," Ghost says. "For your ability to survive unseen. For the softness you protected even when the world tried to harden you. Welcome to the family, Rabbit." Sadie puts on the jacket. "It's too big. She'll grow into it." The crowd erupts in applause and cheers. Dom lifts Ellie onto his shoulders. She waves at Sadie, who waves back. As the party continues into the evening, Sadie finds herself sitting with Solomon at a picnic table, away from the main crowd. "What happens now?" she asks. "Now you live your life. Go to school, figure out what you want to be, help your mom stay clean, let people care about you. It feels weird, being cared about, I know, but you'll get used to it. What about you? What does the club do now?" Solomon looks out at the gathering. Kids playing, adults talking, people eating and laughing and being together. "Same thing we've always done. We take care of our community. We watch out for people who fall through the cracks. And when we find someone who needs help, we help them. Even though you're technically criminals," he smiles. "We prefer the term outlaws. But yeah, the system fails people every single day. We step in where it fails. That's our purpose." Sadie thinks about this. "I want to do that when I'm older. I want to help people." "Then you will. You've already started." Before we close this story, I want to ask you to do something. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment about what this story meant to you. These stories matter. Your engagement helps them reach the people who need them most. Thank you for watching. 3 years later, Sadie is 17 and working on her GED while employed full-time at the Iron Covenant's garage. She's the best mechanic they have, better even than guys who've been doing it for decades. Her mother has been sober for 3.5 years and is training to become a substance abuse counselor. Ellie is 9. She's in therapy but thriving. She plays soccer and violin. She has friends and sleepovers and birthday parties. The nightmares are less frequent. She knows she's loved. The grain terminal where Sadie found her is being demolished. Sadie and Dom stand across the street watching the wrecking balls swing. The building that held so much darkness is coming down, glass and concrete crumbling into rubble. "Thank you," Dom says quietly. "I never properly thanked you. You gave me my daughter back. You gave me my life back. You gave me a family." Sadie responds, "We're even." They watch in silence as the last wall falls. Then they walk back to their motorcycles and ride toward whatever comes next, together.